Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Now, often around here on this channel, we advocate for being good watchers on the wall. Call us gatekeepers if you want, but it's the exact same thing that critics have always done, and honestly what fans should have always been doing and probably made their voices a little bit louder over the past few decades when it comes to a lot of our favorite franchises out there. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that throw red flags out there. It's been time and time again, a lot bit of a history of seeing the kind of things and people behind some of our most favorite creative franchises out there to go out there and say things like, well, you know, I'd prefer not to adapt it like it actually is, and yada, 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 and if I was going to do it, I would do it like this, yada, yada, yada. And that stuff obviously worries us, especially when they get involved in some of our favorite franchises. And Harry Potter is one of those out there. As a guy that read the books, caught up to them as I was growing up as a kid and continued getting to read them as they were coming out as I got older. It's one of my favorite franchises out there. I absolutely love the books. I hold them very dear to my heart. And the movies, they're okay, but hashtag no peeves, no peace. I have real issues with those movies. But that's beside the point, because boys and girls, we know all about the fact that we've got a new Harry Potter series coming from HBO Max out there in the future. And we're all actually hoping for some actual good quality adaptations of the books and have a lot of the things that were left out or changed in the movies, i.e. all of Ron's heroic lines being given out to girl boss Hermione. Well, boys and girls, I think we might actually end up getting some good quality stuff going forward, because everything that we've heard from J.K. Rowling and David Zaslav and HBO and Max and Warner Brothers in general is that they want to do a very faithful adaptation. But at the end of the day, we do always have to keep out for good signs of red flags. And so we've got this article over here from thatparkplace.com. Newly announced Harry Potter TV righty Andrew Greenwald does not like the idea of a rigorous adaptation of the books and said he has not read the books. Now, that obviously comes off as very, very spicy, boys and girls, but we do like to give a fair, balanced, and common sense approach to this. So we're going to go through this article. We're going to read through his exact words, given its complete and total context, and see what we think about this and whether or not this should be a huge red flag or if maybe we're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let us know what you think about this. Do you think this is something that should we be worried about? Should we always be keeping a very close eye on these guys? Or do you think maybe something in this context here makes this seem like a little bit more of a common sense approach? So, from our dear sweet friend John F. Trent over at That Park Place. One of the newly announced writers for Max's upcoming Harry Potter TV series, Andy Greenwald, claimed that he did not like the idea of a rigorous adaptation of J.K. Rowling's books, despite admitting that it would be successful. Furthermore, he admitted to not even finishing reading all of the books. Always not good signs. We do like people a lot of the time because we've seen the results of what happens when fans of a property get a hold of it and actually do a good adaptation of it, whether it be the new Transformers comics that we're seeing absolutely incredible success and really a lot of great fan reception to, or even right down to the One Piece adaptation, which everybody involved in that project seems to be nothing more than a hardcore fan of the original anime and manga out there. So we do get good things when fans are in charge. But also we have the example in Hollywood, of course, for what we can give us with Star Trek The Next Generation. The guy out there the guy that was the showrunner for that didn't actually have never watched any of the original Star Trek series out there. So he literally spent like 2 weeks binge watching, going over and studying the episodes. He did his homework and gave us an absolutely incredible series. So just because they don't have all the background doesn't necessarily mean they'll do a bad job. They just have to be willing to put the work in to give us what HBO and what Warner Brothers and Max and even J.K. Rowling herself has promised us, a faithful adaptation. So let's see what he has to say. Greenwald was announced as one of the writers on the show on the Writers Guild of America website. His previous credits include being the showrunner of Bear Park and working on FX's Legion, which, although FX's Legion was not a faithful adaptation of the comics in any way, shape, or form, it was a really fun show that I absolutely enjoyed. It was a trip, very much so. On his podcast, The Watch, back in February, Greenwald was asked if it would be possible to directly adapt Rowling's Harry Potter novels to television. He initially bluntly responded, yes. He then explained just how popular the novels and the franchises are. These are really, really rich, and they are very long books, especially later in the series. People adore them. Yes, we do. And its successive generations are discovering them and loving them every day. The stories are packed everywhere. They're in the country and all around the world. People are buying chocolate frogs and the hats and the owls. All of it. You can monetize almost every single aspect of it, and they kind of have. I mean, yeah, seriously, go into like any mall candy store or like any kind of specialty candy shop, or hell, just go on to Amazon. You can buy chocolate frogs all day long. You can still buy all kinds of Hogwarts television, all kinds of Hogwarts merch and stuff like that, even though we haven't had a movie in forever or a new book or anything like that. Like, seriously, it's still extremely popular. Hell, check out what Universal's doing with all of their Hogwarts stuff. They're literally just expanding it and adding even more because they know how successful the Harry Potter franchise is. Next, he stated, so the idea of an incredibly rigorous text-to-screen adaptation is, I think, probably a safe bet to success. Yes, exactly. That's what all the fans have been asking for forever. That's all we've ever wanted from any of our properties. That's why manga and anime work so well, because the majority of the anime out there are extremely, almost scene for scene adaptations of the original source material out there. And guess what? It's a huge success that in many cases is completely and totally outstripping the American entertainment industry. However, he then shared his thoughts on this. If something is trumpeting its absolute rock-steady faithfulness, I think the pleasure can be derived from that are probably not going to be from me because I didn't read all the books. I read them to my older daughter until she could read them for herself, and then she dusted me. Right? So it sounds like he wouldn't necessarily enjoy that or appreciate it as much because he hasn't read all of the books yet. Now, if David Zaslav and everybody else over there at Warner Brothers is smart, they will require all of their writers, all of their showrunners, and all of their producers to read these books. And even if they have read them before, it'd probably be a good idea to go back and read them again if you are truly intending on giving us a faithful adaptation. And then I think maybe there's some other creative possibilities in this world. But J.K. Rowling controls all of it and is not going to let anyone else come play with her toys. And that's her right. And is obviously very profitable for her. So that's what we get. And this is exactly him even admitting the fact that even if he would want to do something different, even if he would want to go in a different direction, J.K. Rowling would not allow him to it. So even if he is hired for this job, even if he is officially on the production sheet and all of that kind of stuff out there, it sounds like, guess what? At the end of the day, he knows what he's going to have to do. He knows he's going to have to shut up and color and do things in their direction that they want to go. And you know what? If he's just a good, solid writer and he's a professional, he can do that no matter what he said in the past. Is it something necessarily interested in him? No, because he said he hadn't finished reading the books. Do I think our friends over at That Park Place are making a little bit of a mountain out of a molehill? Yes, to a certain degree. When you read this actually in context and you understand it, you simply give him his reasons behind it, and that it wouldn't be something necessarily interested in him because he hasn't finished all the books yet. That doesn't mean he's not going to do a good job. That doesn't mean he's not going to do a faithful adaptation, because even in his own very same sentences, he admits the fact that J.K. Rowling would have never allow you to do something like that, and it's perfectly within her right because it's her IP. It's the one she created, and she absolutely deserves all of those kind of rights. So Greenwald's comments are just another red flag for the series. Maybe the biggest one was a recent casting call for the three main characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And on the bottom of it, right down here, it says it's an equal opportunity committed to diverse casting, yada, yada, yada. Honestly, I personally think that's just legal jargon that they had to add to the end of this, because it's just like every other posting you see out there, and like in the United States, and obviously this one's over in the United Kingdom, but in the United States where you see, you know, our company is an equal opportunity employer and does not discriminate based on race, gender, all of that kind of stuff, right? I really do legitimately think that's just the exact same kind of thing in here. Not something that really should worry a lot of people out there. And of course, they go on to talk about the rest of this stuff. They give all the examples of HBO and Max, saying all of the things that I already said about this, wanting to be a faithful adaptation and all of that. So yes, should we always be good watchers on the wall? Should we always keep an eye out for this kind of stuff and hold all of these people's feet to the fire at all times? Yes, absolutely. Our laziness, our sitting back and just loving whatever they gave us for so long out there, just hoping for any kind of something that was even halfway faithful to things, has failed us time and time again. We are now woken up. They have now woken the fan base up out there, and they realize that we have to be more critical of these things, and we have to be good gatekeepers. Is this a potential red flag? Yes, absolutely. Do I think it's a little overblown to a certain degree? Yes, but at the end of the day, we need to keep an eye on these people, and we need to be good watchers on the wall. We need to be good gatekeepers of our fandoms out there, and by doing that, it means being good critics, holding these people accountable, and holding the creatives accountable for not only what they say, but what they create and what they do to our favorite franchises out there and fan bases, and not giving them an inch. We have seen what has happened in the past with that kind of thing out there. So be critical, be hyper aware, keep an eye out for all of this kind of stuff, because we have seen what they have done to our franchises in the past, and the fans are smarter than these companies have ever been, any of these creatives have ever been. And when they finally start to wake up and realize that, yes, give us what we want and we will make you rich, they will end up being very successful. Let's hope the Harry Potter series franchise actually ends up working out this, and this is just a one-off comment from this guy, but at the end of the day, we will keep an eye on all this stuff, because David Zaslav and the rest of everybody over there at Warner Brothers, you will get exactly what you deserve. Make the fans happy and we'll make you rich. Piss us off and we'll watch you burn down to the ground.